Hello again, this is Kurgan here, back with another BF3 weapon review. Today, we're going to be looking at the M416 assault rifle and the changes it received from the Armored Kill weapon patch that came on September 4th. Almost everything about this weapon was changed from that patch, though if you look at each change separately, they're minor, but collectively, it's a pretty large change. Now, the start of the changes are the horizontal recoil. Both the left and the right were changed. Right was changed from 0.3 to 0.2. Now that actually is a pretty large change. That's almost cutting it in half, so that's really nice to see. And the left recoil was changed from 0.1 to 0.15. Now that's actually a nerf, that's actually an increase, but overall I think that it helps the playstyle out a little bit, but I'll go over that later on. The vertical recoil was also changed on the M416. It was changed from 0.28 to 0.26, so it's a bit of a reduction, and that's nice to see as well. And the first shot multiplier also helps with that. The first shot multiplier used to be 2.0, now it is 1.8. So coupled with the vertical recoil change, this weapon has very little kick. Now, like many of the assault rifles from the patch, the reload time was also tweaked slightly. It used to be 1.9 seconds. It is now 1.75. And that may seem like a small change, but that actually makes the M416 the fastest reloading assault rifle in the game, which helps it out tremendously. And the last change for the patch comes from the bipod. Now, not a ton of people use this, but if you do, it's going to make you happy because the multiplier was dropped from 50% to 40%, so this weapon has less kick now when mounted, which is going to help you fire down hallways and such. So it's something that the bipod users out there are really going to like. Now, let's talk about how these changes actually affected the M416 and its general characteristics. Personally, this is a weapon I loved before the patch. Overall, it feels just about the same, but it's a bit easier to control at mid-range, and its reload speed, which was already great, is now extremely fast. Now, what that means is this weapon is more comfortable in close quarter situations, because in close quarters, if you kill 2 or 3 people with that same clip and you have to reload, if your reload takes a long time, you're probably going to die because somebody's going to come around the corner and you're going to have to either be quick and pull out your pistol, or you're going to have to hope that reload's done. 1.75 seconds is not very long at all, so your weapon hopefully will be ready to go and you'll be able to continue that rampage that you already had. And then there's a change to the left and the right recoil, which makes this weapon easier to control, because before this weapon liked to run to the right. Not a ton, but it did like to do it. And now, since the left recoil was increased and the right recoil was reduced, this is a weapon that doesn't really like to go in either direction. It will go a little to the right, but not very much. So basically when you're firing it, all you have to do is worry about pulling down and maybe just slightly to the left to balance it out. So it's a much easier to control weapon than most of the other assault rifles, and it's something that really works for this weapon. And then there is, of course, the change to the bipod. Now, I did use this weapon with a bipod before the patch, and it kind of just didn't fit. It felt like it had too much recoil. So to see that multiplier reduced by 10%, it helps this weapon a lot. So those people that do use them instead of just running the underslung should be very happy with this change. Now, let's talk about the general behavior of the M416 and the reason it is picked over the M16A3. And the first reason is that lower first shot multiplier. This is something that I've been plugging in other videos. It is a huge stat, and it helps you understand how to fire a weapon. The first shot multiplier on this weapon is a lot lower than it is in the M16A3. Now what that means is that this weapon is going to be much better at burst firing. And in fact, you can really do anything you want with it. That first shot multiplier is so low, coupled with its actual multiplier, that you can fire long bursts, short bursts. This weapon is comfortable doing everything, so it's a really easy weapon to jump in and use. And as I've already talked about, the left and right recoil, it's what separates it from the M16A3 once again, because the M16A3 has a high right recoil and a low left recoil, so it's a weapon that likes to pull to the right, whereas the M416 basically pulls even. So it's actually got a higher left recoil than the M16A3, but its right recoil is a lot lower. So it's a weapon that basically pulls vertical, and it makes them feel quite a bit different when you use them. And the last thing that separates them, and this isn't by a huge margin because the A3 is a fast reloading weapon too, but now that the M416 is the fastest reloading assault rifle in the game, that's something that it has going for it because it makes it really comfortable in just about any situation, especially the close quarter ones that I already talked about. Now, there was one more change, and I've gone over this in my other assault rifle reviews because this is a blanket change that affected all assault rifles except for the G3A3, and it's something that you're going to want to keep in mind. Now, it's not a huge change. It basically just reduced the range that these weapons are good for from 75 meters to 65 meters. Now, overall, like I said, it's not big, but it's something that makes this weapon not quite as good at medium to long range shots. So keep that in mind if you use this weapon before the patch, that it's not going to be quite so good at those long distance shots. But couple that with the really flexible characteristics of this weapon and the low first shot multiplier, you can burst fire this weapon to almost make up for that change. Now, my thoughts on all this is that the M416 was a great weapon before the patch, and the changes that were made to it make it better at close quarter situations and medium range engagements, but it is slightly worse at longer ranges, so it's something to keep in mind. Overall though, it's a great gun, and the changes to the M16 make the M416 a much more attractive weapon now. A lot are saying this is now the best assault rifle in the game, and for some that might be true. I feel very comfortable with the M416 and I highly suggest trying it, but you should also check out some other weapons. I have some other reviews out of some other assault rifles, and I feel that a few of them tango with the M416 as far as being comfortable and great weapons. So make sure you find that weapon that suits you. Finding the weapon that you're comfortable with is going to be extremely important also. And last but not least, we have the big debate, the M416 versus the M16A3. Now, I've already touched on this a little bit, so let's delve into it a little bit more. What does it really come down to? And I think that the difference is why a lot of people choose the A3 over the M416 is time to kill. Now, the reason that it's time to kill is slightly faster is because it fires 50 rounds a minute faster. Now, my view on this is these are weapons that you pick to be rounded. You want them to be able to do everything. They should be able to do close quarters well. Medium range, these weapons are both devastating, and long ranges, they're more than capable. So that's what you're looking for from these weapons. Now, that 50 rounds per minute faster firing rate basically is going to translate into a faster time to kill in close quarters, simply because it's going to be harder to miss with those bullets when your target is right in front of you. But the farther that your target gets from you, the M16A3 is a harder to control weapon. It has more recoil in almost every direction. It has a higher first shot multiplier, so that M416 is going to be a better weapon. It's going to be easier shot. It's going to be easier to control. It's going to be easier to fire however many rounds you want to fire, whether it's a short burst, a medium burst, or a long burst. And that's the difference between these weapons. Is that 50 rounds per minute difference I don't think is very much. It's slightly faster time to kill, and it's a harder to control weapon, so I think that you really need to keep that in mind. Now, not everybody's going to be comfortable with the M416. Some people may think that the A3 is for them, and more power to you. They're both great weapons, but I'm just telling you to consider all of the factors when using them. The time to kill isn't always the most important factor when it's this small of a difference. Having an easier to control weapon is very nice. Now that's going to be it for this review. I'd like to thank you all for watching. I've been getting more and more comments on my videos, and I love that because you people have been suggesting more guns for me to review, and I've been trying to get out weapons that you want to see reviewed, so keep letting me know what you want to see. And if you want to see things beyond reviews, let me know that as well, and I'll do my best to get that footage out there for you guys. So I really hope you're enjoying these videos. Tell your friends about it. Let's get some more comments, let's get some more likes, let's get some more subs, and I can get some more reviews out for you guys. So thank you for watching, and until next time, this is Kurgan.